a horticultural icon. George Washington Carver was one of America's most prominent scientists and inventors. He had a lifelong fascination with plants and conducted his own experiments with plants and soil when he was just a child. He was the first Black student accepted into Iowa State Agricultural School to study botany, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in 1894 and a master's degree 2 years later. As a faculty member there, he began conducting experiments in crop rotation using soy plantings to replace nitrogen in depleted soil. He was by then being recognized nationally as a leading agricultural scientist. But it was when he accepted the invitation of Booker T. Washington to consider taking a post at the historic Tuskegee Institute that he would truly hit his stride as a research scientist and inventor. He was committed to helping poor farmers in the rural South. He introduced the technique of crop rotation. After much experimentation, he settled on the use of peanuts to replace the nitrogen in soil depleted of it by cotton plants. Farmers quickly applied the techniques, which yielded larger, healthier cotton crops, but storing large amounts of peanuts had a downside: rot. Back to the lab he went, where he isolated himself for a solid week and created several new products that could be produced from peanuts. Carver was eventually credited with saving the agricultural economy of the rural South. He developed over 300 products made from peanuts. These included flour, paste, insulation, paper, wallboard, wood stains, soap, shaving cream, and skin lotion. He experimented with the use of peanuts for medicinal purposes. Those experiments yielded antiseptics, a laxative, and a treatment for goiter. During World War I, he worked with Henry Ford, producing a peanut-based replacement for rubber, and developed more than 30 colors of dye from Alabama soils when dye became difficult to obtain from Europe. Products he developed from his experiments with sweet potatoes include wood fillers, dye, rope, breakfast cereal, shoe polish, and synthetic silk. In addition, he continued to experiment with the crossbreeding of plants and flowers to produce wide arrays of colors, tints, and shades. Beloved by his students, he challenged the next generation of agricultural and horticultural scientists to find their answers through trial and error using the scientific method. His work, achievements, contributions, awards, recognitions, which include a monument and 2 U.S. military vessels, are far too many to name here. His impact during his lifetime and beyond, immeasurable. With all his fame and notoriety, though, he was a humble man, an accomplished artist and pianist, and a humanitarian who worked the whole of his life for racial equality. Carver's actual birthday is unknown, but the United States Congress designated January 5th as George Washington Carver Recognition Day. Inspired by his life example, others followed in his footsteps. They include Marie Clark Taylor, who in 1941 became the first American woman of any ethnicity to receive a doctorate in science from Fordham University. She was the head of the botany department at Howard University for 29 years. Roland Maurice Jefferson, a legend at the National Arboretum, where he spent over 40 years studying, propagating, and preserving cherry trees. Some of the trees from his collection still bloom each year at the Washington, D.C. Cherry Blossom Festival. And today, younger African-American botanists carry on his legacy. Kevin Cox Jr., a postdoctoral fellow, researching ways plants can protect themselves against pathogens. Daria McKelvey, a supervisor at the Missouri Botanical Gardens. Matthew Norman, a professional rosarian. Yes, one who cultivates roses. These young people and more are not only carrying on George Washington Carver's legacy, they are blazing their own trails for others to follow. We at Longwood Gardens are pleased to recognize Carver's work, to play a part in continuing his legacy, and leave you with a quote from his writing. Why should not the horticulturalist know just how to build up size, flavor, vigor, and hardiness in his fruits and shrubs, and the florist know just how to blend and perfect the color of his flowers, producing not only harmony, but a glorious symphony of nature's daintiest tints and shades with as much certainty as the artist mixes his pigments upon the palette?